Hi, I'm Karen, and this is Graham, and together we are Mungo's Motorhome Adventures. We thought it would be nice to stay closer to home with a few of our winter wonders in Miley, and so here we are at Farleigh Hungerford Castle. Farleigh Hungerford Castle is quite serene, with a touch of melancholy mixed in. Once a grand statement of a structure, it took a beating in the 18th century and ended up in ruins. The approach roads to the castle host lovely rolling countryside views, and although wide enough for the motorhome, there are spots where you have to take a little care. As we approached the entrance drive, you could see the overflow car park on the left. The site is owned and cared for by English Heritage, which, by the way, is an excellent charity to join up to, allowing free parking and entry to all paid attractions like this, but also giving you the peace of mind that you're helping them to continue their incredible work of conserving so many of our national treasures. To enter the car park, you have to drive through the East Gatehouse, which was rather a novelty. If you're in a camper van or low-profile motorhome, you will probably be able to do this easily enough. However, any larger outfits would best be parked in the overflowing coach park, for which we would recommend you phone ahead and organise beforehand. Unsure as to the accessibility for our little van, we called ahead in the morning, and the staff were on standby ready to come out and unlock the overflow. But Miley made it through unscathed, and we drove through the castle grounds and into the small car park beyond. If it helps you gauge for size, apparently they even had a fire engine drive through recently on a practice exercise. Having said that, there are marks and gouges on the inside of the gateway from past scrapes with vehicles, so we couldn't possibly speak for your own outfit. You can see here that the car park was lovely and quiet when we arrived, but in this footage an hour or so later, with other vehicles in the space, you can see more clearly the small size of the area. The whole site had such a serene feel to it, nestled in a beautiful valley, almost forgotten by time. You could wander pretty much wherever you wanted to, and we did. We could have stayed all day, ambling around, sitting and listening to the birdsong, reading the ancient graffiti. The castle was originally built as a quadrangular fortress in the late 14th century by the rather colourful Hungerford family, who lived there for over 300 years. Initially a distinguished family, well connected in royal circles, it fell into disrepute through various scandals and misfortunes in medieval and Tudor times, then was divided during the Civil War and finally ruined by extravagance in the late 17th century. From there, the castle was sold and fell into ruins. The name Farleigh comes from the Anglo-Saxon words fern liga, meaning ferny pasture. Originally, the castle had 4 towers, one at each corner. 2 of these are still partially complete, the southeast tower and the southwest or Lady Tower. These make for fantastic photographs and videos, with their exposed stonework and large Elizabethan windows. It is said that the Lady Tower is named as such because Lady Elizabeth Hungerford was imprisoned there by her husband in the 1530s. Apparently, local ladies secretly brought her food to her great window, but this seems unlikely that they would not have been detected here. It's more likely that she was imprisoned in the Northwest Tower, which is no longer standing. Understandably, the story has been connected with the more complete and more visible tower, making the story more tangible. The Lady Tower is the tallest remaining tower standing at 5 stories high, and was even more complete before Guy Fawkes' night of 1842, when children set fire to the ivy growing up the side of the tower. Looking up, you can see recesses in the walls where the floor timbers would have been set. When sat in what looks like a short staircase, it wasn't apparent what this was for. I could see markings in the stone from not so long ago to eons ago, each one telling a person's story. Possibly some of these marks could have been left by a medieval marksman, bored whilst on duty in the lower room of the tower. At the base of each of the towers are arrow slits, sited so that the archers could easily protect the castle from intruders. The moat here is lined with edge-on stones, and although dry now, would have been flooded with water from a natural spring, held in place by the dam. This ditch and moat defended the site from invaders on the south and west. Then to the east and north there is a steep escarpment, providing the defence here. The southeast tower stands to just above 3rd floor level, with what looks like battlements on top. These are, in fact, the remains of a ring of windows which stood just below the original conical roof. High up on the right is a door which used to lead out onto the wall walk. You can see remnants of plasterwork still on the walls, which would have covered the in and outside of all walls. Also visible is a fireplace and the remains of a staircase up to the tower roof. The chapel was built between 1370 and 1383 to replace the parish church for the village. This was then absorbed into the castle walls in the 15th century, and a new parish church was built on the hill to the south of the castle. Inside are some impressive wall paintings dating from the 1440s, including a large figure of St George and the Dragon, plus a faded figure of a kneeling knight wearing the Hungerford coat of arms. Further in, the North Chapel was built by Sir Thomas Hungerford and his wife Lady Joan. Their tomb is surrounded by iron railings and is very impressive, with Sir Thomas shown in full armour. As you pass through the wrought iron gates and into the North Chapel, you come to more tombs, including the impressive shrine to Margaret and Edward Hungerford in 1658. He was a Civil War commander and died decades before her. In his memory, she designed their tomb and had the gates, new windows and the black and white marble flooring put in, as well as wall and ceiling paintings, many of which you can see here. Beneath here, accessed by a door to the north side of the chapel, is a burial vault, holding the best collection of human-shaped lead coffins in Britain. These coffins still hold the embalmed remains of 4 men, 2 women and 2 children. 4 have faces moulded onto them, possibly directly from the faces of the deceased. These coffins were originally enclosed in wood, but were badly damaged by late 18th century and 19th century visitors, some of whom allegedly poked sticks through the lead to reach the embalming fluid within and may have even tasted it. Each to their own. The priest's house was originally built in 1430 to accommodate a priest employed to pray in the castle chapel for the souls of the Hungerford family and their ancestors. Over the years, this was then shared by a second priest to pray only for Walter, Lord Hungerford. Then, following the abolition of the chantries during the Reform, it became a dairy, then a farmhouse. It remained a farmhouse for nearly 300 years and was extended to include the granary where the ticket office is now housed. In 1959, the house was restored to house a display about the castle, which is well worth a wander around, displaying sections of ornate stone masonry found discarded around the site, as well as some armoury and a scale model of the castle as it was in 1600. An interesting ditty I discovered when reading about the castle in its guidebook is that of the history of England's patron saint, St George. Apparently, until 1348, our patron saint was the Anglo-Saxon St Edmund, but Edward III declared St George patron of his new Order of the Garter. Then later, in 1415, Henry V attributed his victory at Agincourt to the saint's intervention and made his feast on the 23rd of April a day of national celebration. The Order of the Garter is England's highest honour. It is an exclusive group limited to 26 knights, including and chosen by the King or Queen. As this was normally restricted to royal family members, Walter, Lord Hungerford, had clearly gained great favour in becoming part of it. The paintings of St George and the kneeling knight in the chapel will have been made in honour of this knighthood. We do hope that you've enjoyed your virtual visit to Farleigh Hungerford Castle and that this may have inspired you to take a literal visit there someday. If you have enjoyed this and would be interested in more historical trips, do please let us know in the comments section below. Also subscribe and hit the bell for notifications when our latest videos come out. Thank you for listening.